All right, Juventini, welcome to the All Juve Cast channel, and it is Champions League match day. Match day 1, Malmo versus Juve today. Juve's away on the road, and the panel left it up to the old boys today. It's Anthony and Alberto here today. How's it going, man?
First of all, living the dream. Second of all, you don't want to put a day like today in the hands of the youngsters. God knows they're going to drop the ball. But I think we can handle it. It's a nice, beautiful day outside. Hopefully that translates onto the pitch, my friend.
Yes, absolutely. And it's been a little bit of a whirlwind out there with Juventini. I've had a lot DM me just on social media and just how they're feeling with this team lately. And again, I just reiterate my thoughts and feelings, which are I still will hold out until I see the regulars consistently and give Max a little bit more time. Where do you stand a few days out from obviously the Napoli defeat and whatnot? Where's your kind of thought process surrounding Juve right now?
Well, I had a lot of good thoughts about the Napoli game on Sunday until I got blocked on the YouTube channel, which was a little bit of a concern. But I'm not pushing the panic button. Maybe it's the old age. Maybe it's I got enough other things to worry about. But like you said, we haven't had the full team yet. Season isn't lost. 3 match days, people. 1, 2, 3 match days. So I know in our group chat I mentioned that maybe that next week would be a must win. I was saying that next week would be a must win for morale, right? I don't think it would really have a bearing on the season final standings, but today is the one where we need to get things going. I got some thoughts we'll share on it later, but today's the day we really need to get things going after that defeat on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you think back to as well, and everybody saying that was a must win and everything against Napoli. I also look back to the comments of our, Captain Chiellini when he, granted he probably shouldn't have singled out a certain player or whatnot, but I think that was his way of alleviating, hey, we got to be realistic that missing these key guys is big for this team, and just like this is not a must win. We probably knew we were going to suffer. We tried to get those points out of there. We fell short. Del Piero in his interview said the exact same thing. He goes, look, you picked those names. These guys are game changers and they're not there available. So it is what it is. He also acknowledged that there's a lot of work to do, not only on the pitch, but off of the pitch is what Del Piero talked about. And that's big as well. You have to understand there's growing pains with the young guys. And this is what I kept reiterating to Juventini through my DMs. There's a lot to it. It's not so simple as just you're putting these guys out there. You go on the pitch, you go out, you figure it out. There's a lot. There's putting too much weight and pressure on young guys. Are some of those guys ready to bear that? The captains, the leaders themselves, they can't take on too much because everybody's got to try to get to a mode where everyone's sharing the same understanding and they're playing somewhat free. And right now, and in hockey, us Canadians, we know it, gripping the stick too tight.
Wendell Wristers.
Go ahead.
Now, when it comes to the youngsters, I don't think you can understate that. It's when you have a team with a lot of veterans on it, and then you shift to a team with a lot of youngsters. I know you have Bonucci and Chiellini in there. I think Buffon was a big loss. I'm not going to get into the whole Szczesny Buffon thing, but Buffon's a big loss in terms of a locker room person, right? Someone who can rally the troops, even from the bench, someone who can rally the troops. And it's growing pains where youngsters have to learn how to do this. And that happens in any job force. When you go from, a group of individuals in any workplace that, you lose a bunch of people to, let's say, retirement. And then if you don't have a solid transition plan, which, let's face it, Juventus did not have a transition plan from the old guard to this new guard.
Yes.
And that's something that they're working through. And I wouldn't call it a complete rebuild this season, but let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's see what the young guys do when they're all available. Let's get them all available first.
Yeah. And that's a great point too. And that's basically what I've been saying to people is we have to look realistically at how long that some of the band-aids have been put on this team and this
Mhm.
club, and all that patchwork has finally caught up. It's not going to be turned around in one mercado where you literally have no money because of a pandemic and whatnot, and a lot of other reasons, but it can't turn around that quick. So to expect it is very, very unrealistic. I did love the words of Luciano Moggi, who said, calm and closeness is what we ask from the fans for the club. This guy's a true Juventino, man, through and
Yeah.
through, like just an absolute beauty. And he put that post out there, was clean, simple, and he's right. Just relax. And the team, I think, now is finally starting to make the moves that make sense in terms of starting to right the ship. And in a few years, again, if we keep this core together,
Mhm.
it's going to be big. It's going to be big. It's going to be great. We just have to, we might have to suffer through a bit. But again, would you rather the patchwork continue and us still have frustrations, or would you rather just get the job done, do it right, and you might have to suffer a bit?
Well, think about the patchwork that's going on. Look at the patches that are in place. Chiellini, Locatelli, De Ligt, Kulishevsky. Quadrado's he's on the old side, but still playing well. And then you have Dybala, who you're going to center the project around. Uh, who else do you want to throw in there? I would throw in Rabiot, but I know it's going to set Lou off.
Yeah, I mean, we've got
Bentancur, right? There's a lot of young players in there.
Caio Jorge might have a future. Who knows,
Who
right?
knows?
We've got another young guy, Yatarin, that we
Keane.
sent out on loan. That who knows where the potential lies.
Mhm.
We've got Rovella that looks
Big one.
a great young talent that's playing over in Genoa. I mean, it's good. And the nice thing is, at least having them as your property, you won't lose in the future when it comes down to moving these guys. So patience. I'm gonna just play the patience game.
So before we switch, let me help me out. Maybe help some of the listeners out. For Rovella, he's on loan one more year. What do you think are the chances that Juventus will bring him into the fold next year, or is there another year on that loan?
For Rovella,
Yeah.
I think it depends on where we stand in the season. But for me, the way I look at this team, and again, you kind of hit the nail on the head in terms of certain members of that old guard we're not prepared for. And I think at center back, it's highlighted. And, we had to make some moves. We moved Romero and then we moved Demirol, whatnot. I think we need a center back. We need a left back, like 100%. Danilo's no spring chicken. Quadrado's no spring chicken. I mean, fullbacks potentially, because I do prefer Quadrado higher up the pitch. And I talked about this too in that Napoli match. Locatelli was spraying the ball around quite nicely. This is
Mhm.
not a knock on Bernardeschi, but a few times when he finds him in a position up on that wing, you can't help but feel if that's Quadrado, he's burning that guy 1v1.
Yeah, he's
That
going to the
game could
box.
be that game could become a lot different, right?
Mhm.
You throw in a creative midfielder into the mix for us, like maybe when our tour's available, when Bernardeschi's finding that guy that's making those runs, and it's not McKennie and it's Locatelli, maybe Locatelli does a little more with it. So it's just not all is lost. It's not.
Mhm.
It's not to that dire point.
Agree.
But Rovella, I think it. I think there's a potential for him to come in, because if we finally do move Ramsey and McKennie potentially moves due to
Mhm.
plus Valenza, that's an easy pickup to come in. And another thing that we have to factor in is, are we going to be playing a two-man pivot? Because if we play a two-man pivot, Rovella is a holding midfielder. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of things to factor in. If I had to put a percentage on it right now, maybe 60%, slightly over 50. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that,
What are
that'll
your
upset
thoughts,
about
Matthew?
three. That'll upset about three-quarters of Twitter. Now, I don't watch Genoa because I really don't have time. I have enough time to watch Juventus and certain other things. I can't be sitting watching Genoa all day. But from what I have seen, great player, but he's only 20 years old, right? Let's just again pump the brakes. Let's see what next summer holds. He's not one of our players. So this whole, like, I don't agree with the whole, always the conversations of, oh, if Rovella was in this team, we would be doing X, or if Buffon was in this team, we'd be doing Y. Those guys aren't on the field. They're not on our team. This is the team we have. This is the team we're moving forward with. And this is the team we're going to discuss today.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Now, you got the rebuild should not have been in there in the first place. It's all incompetent Mercados, thanks to Tichy and Marotta. And there was a lot of errors that led there. And I think more so the fact that's frustrating when you see a guy like Rovella play quite well for Genoa is the fact that he could have stayed this season. And you had Arthur going into surgery and whatnot, and obviously Ramsey's just, you can always count on him staying at J Medical. He actually never bought a place in Turin. He actually lives at J Medical.
Stop it.
So
Stop
it. The thing is, I understand the frustrations. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with watching a guy that you own, because it's not like we're keeping tabs on guys who are rumor mill players. He
Right.
is actually owned by Juventus. And obviously, yeah, you want to see him succeed and do well because he could be a part of our future. So, yeah, again, we don't need to go through this and always hope and pray and wish and go over it a million times. But let's just say, hey, Rovella's looking good. That could be another spot in the future for us. That's great. There is a question coming in from Delzo9. If you could go back to when Pirlo was sacked this summer, would your choice of coach for a 4-year deal be Allegri? And why don't you kick us off on this one, answering this one?
Yeah. The whole thing needed to be redone, reevaluated. Pirlo was always just a Band-Aid. I didn't, Pirlo's a person I've heard through colleagues of mine who work with him on on the wine business. Great guy, wonderful person, wonderful human being, but he was a first-time coach. You don't start a rebuild with a first-time coach. It's Max is another really polarizing person, right? You had some people who liked him, some people who didn't, but the fact is that he was the only one available for the price that we could afford. Like, we should have brought in, Pochettino or Zidane. Those guys aren't available. And if they are available, we couldn't afford them. These are the same people that argue, well, we should have brought in Donnarumma. Well, we don't have the money to bring in all these people. So Juventus focused on, let's get the coach, and then we have the players, and we're going to get one piece, and that was Locatelli, and then that was it. So the right person to do that, they felt, was Max, and I agree with the management on that.
Yeah, and it's interesting.
4 years is a long time, though.
4 years.
3 would have been better, but a 4-year deal, we'll see. We'll see if he lasts the 4 years. Hopefully, he does.
Yeah, and Dels continues on with first. I'll just kind of answer. I'm kind of in line with you. We have to realize, the finances. Max could have made more, potentially taking another job, didn't take that other job, wanted to come back here, which says a lot, because everybody looking in on Juventus could see this is not a situation that's easy to walk into and step into after the carousel's been created, and you're a much, much younger team, and you can see the disconnect between the pitch and locker room and all these different aspects that need work. So credit to him for moving in. And honestly, like, the knock that's going against him lately that I've seen, which is he took over Milan, he took over Juventus when they were winners. Well, the same has to be applied to Zidane, because he took over an amazing Real Madrid squad.
Probably the best team they've ever had.
Yeah, so it's like we have to keep all this in. I personally, and I said it when we released Pirlo, I said, look, the next manager that comes in, I think we're going to see a lot of the same things, which is individual errors and these players needing to grow. And I put a lot on the players during Pirlo's season, and I was ridiculed sometimes for it, because they're just saying, look, this coach has no idea. And I'm saying, hey, at the end of the day, until the latter stages of the season, we actually controlled all our matches and we're creating a lot of chances. The guys just weren't finishing. I said, and a lot of the goals we allowed were our own errors. Here we are, flash forward into an Allegri season. How much of that still holds true? We're not creating as much by any means, but all the goals almost that we're allowing are self-inflicted. Yep. So there's a lot that has to be done in terms of finding a structured system that these players all fit into, defining their roles and moving forward together as a team. It's a lot of work. Would I go back and do Allegri again? I personally believed at the time, and I still believe now, he's the guy. I think we just need to be patient, but he'll find something that works with all of us. Dels continues on with, what about someone like De Zerbi or Gasp? For me, I never really agreed with the caliber of Pirlo, and I don't agree with the caliber of these guys potentially, because Gasp to me is a very, very stubborn, set individual. He's still, I don't know. He's done well. I don't see him succeeding where the expectations are much, much higher. I think he's perfect at a team that's not getting those expectations, and he can kind of bring them above it. But all of a sudden, I think at a place like Juve, I'm not 100% sure. What would be your thoughts on Gas potentially there, Anthony?
I'd flip that back to what I said about, and I'm not going to knock any other managers because they're light years ahead of being a manager than I am. But
Yes.
what you have to take into account as well is the behind the scenes, the management, the dealings, the club. When you're doing a rebuild, we'll call it a rebuild, or when you have such a young team. For me, I'd rather bring in a coach that already knows the club, the system, the people, the culture, right? The culture that's the word I was looking for, is the culture.
Yeah.
So if you can just hear it in Allegri's press conferences, he says the right words. He doesn't put pressure on certain players. Szczesny's my guy. We're a young team. Patience. He says all the right things. And my concern would be bringing in another manager. I wouldn't call them loose cannons, but they may not understand the culture right away, and we need to hit the ground running, especially with Ronaldo leaving, all that, hullabaloo that was out there. It worked out perfectly. I think Max was the right guy, and it just all fits. So let's just give him have a bit of patience. Let's give him a bit of time, and we'll see where this goes. And it starts today with Champions League. Be very interested. It's going to be amazing to see how he turns this around from Saturday.
And we will get into Max's presser yesterday, speaking on this matchup and everything. But real quick, laugh of the week, notifications, messages, journalists saying Ligt has not lived up to expectations. That one I had to laugh at. My word. One of the comments I found interesting was he's overpaid. And we overpaid to get him. And he was one of the pieces with Ronaldo that set us down this kind of difficult and tight financial situation. I found that very, very interesting. Number one, in terms of expectations, every time I've watched Ligt play, there's been, obviously he started off rocky. It felt like he needed to wear a straitjacket for a jersey because the balls were just like magnets to his hands. But outside of that, he settled in nicely. I think every time he's been playing that I see him, the talent shines through, no doubt. And then we look at the team as a whole. I can't help but look at this team as a whole. We have not met expectations as a group. Mm-hmm. So to pin it on any one individual it's silly to me, because if we can praise Cristiano Ronaldo for doing his job during this time of a little bit of chaos amongst Juventus as a club, we can't praise De Ligt and say that he hasn't met expectations. For me, he has. He's met the expectations. His talent shines through. It's been one strange environment for a young guy that needs to continue to grow. And I think everybody just needs to pump the brakes. As far as the financials, the market dictates what happens. And that's just the way it was. If you wanted a generational talent and you wanted to lock him in at that time with everybody that was involved, that was the price. And it is what it is. So we can't say that he's overpaid. The market dictates that, and it's funny because it all ties into the Dybala thing and everything like that. And Dybala isn't wrong in saying he wants to make the same as Dybala. And what I found interesting was the same people that were knocking us for overpaying for De Ligt and saying, well, look how much we've only paid Chiellini. He was grossly underpaid his whole career, and Bonucci and whatnot. And I'm thinking, well, it's a little bit different. It's a whole different scenario because they came in and they were younger and whatnot, and they had the love for the club and they wanted to do that. And sometimes these players do that. And yeah, I mean, I can't say that Chiellini wasn't grossly underpaid his career because I believe he was, but again, sometimes these happens and it's different situations when you're trying to bring a guy in like that. Because Chiellini built himself at Juventus.
He was given time.
Completely different situation. And potentially, if we don't get relegated, that might not have happened with Chiellini. People have to realize that, because if our roster doesn't explode the way it did, that maybe doesn't happen. Even a guy like Marquisio, going back, like it's interesting how it all unfolded. But you get those two guys that grew up through there, and it's different because if Chiellini was all of a sudden, built and he was at that level and we went out and got him, he wouldn't have been grossly underpaid through his career. So it's different scenarios, right? And interesting things. But Ant, your thoughts when this is rolling around in the background on social media about De Ligt being not matching expectations?
So the first thing is, anyone complaining about De Ligt's salary obviously has never had a mortgage or negotiated to win a house on the real estate market. Like you said, the market dictates the price. And then if we didn't have De Ligt, who would we have?
Yeah.
Dragusin? Demirel? Who would you rather have between those three? Rugani? Like, this place would, the Juventini would burn Twitter down. I'm sorry about that. Would burn Twitter down if we had the R guy back there and not De Ligt. So decisions have to be made at certain times. Sometimes you overpay. Sometimes it happens. But he will be worth every penny. And I had to, sorry if I was looking down there, I had to look on my phone. He was born, De Ligt was, August 12th, 1999. I can tell you within a high degree of probability where I was on August 12th, 1999. The kid is 22 years old. So what do we want from him? What do you want from him at 22? Very, very young, right? I know some of the listeners on here might be the same age, but
shines through every time I see
let's just give him some time. Center backs never, you want a center back in his prime when he's 28. You lock him in at 22, 21 years old. Actually, we locked him in at 20. So I'm not even going to entertain those idiots when they start pumping off on stuff like that. So
I think it's clickbait from some of these journalists.
Absolutely.
And the sad thing is that the journalist is actually not terrible, but this was really poor, in my personal opinion, from that journalist. I just
was a journalist who said that? Oh,
yeah. It was a journalist who put this out through his outlet, and I just couldn't. I couldn't believe it. Like that's really sad. He's got to be much better. If all of a sudden we're going at a guy like De Ligt and whatnot, and it's funny because it all ties into the interview with Del Piero and everything, and putting too much on guys too soon. And the leaders need to do it. And he spoke a lot on Dybala because they are in contact, and he said Dybala puts so much on himself, and he goes he can't, because sometimes that is what prevents him from doing what he can do. And we've all seen what Dybala can achieve on the pitch and what he can do. It's just sometimes he's his own worst enemy, much like Morata is his own worst enemy, which Pirlo spoke to last season, saying he easily gets himself into slumps and can affect himself mentally. So there's just so many aspects to this team right now that need to be resolved. But I think the biggest thing right now is Allegri relieving that pressure off the young guys, Chiesa, De Ligt, Locatelli even. Like, let these guys do their thing, remain calm, remain patient, and don't make every result be the end of. You know what I mean? Just, hey, We take it in stride. This is what happened. It didn't go our way. We're going to work hard the next one. He has to have that. And it may frustrate the hell out of Juventini to hear these things, but he has to reiterate that and just let all the guys know that, hey, we're going to be patient with you and we're investing in all you guys and we believe in this project. That's the biggest thing. We have to show a sense of belief in this project or it's going to fail before it even gets going. And that's all I could say to Juventini is we have to be the same, because if we don't show the faith in these young guys, they're just going to crumble. We've got 2 managers in Serie A that have already been fired after match week 3.
Unbelievable.
Cagliari and Hellas Verona. That is insane to me. And I swear to God, I believe now they're run by Twitter. If they're firing managers 3 match weeks into the season.
Speaking of Twitter bleachers, sometimes I like to mingle with my fellow sweat hogs in the bleachers here in the comments. Now, the sweat hogs, that's a term of endearment. I love being in there when I'm not on the show. I love being in the comments with the people, mixing it up. That's the comment I wanted you to highlight. Yeah, Liam's. I wouldn't really call that lazy journalism. That's smart journalism because that guy wanted clicks. That story, if it was from a journalist, that thing was everywhere. So, he did a little bit of legwork. He's like, how can I piss everybody off today? I'll talk about the Ligt. Yeah. So, we wouldn't really call it lazy. I'd call it smart, but, he had to come up with a whole story about that. So, it's anyways, good move on that guy for the clicks.
You're right. He did achieve what he wanted to do. So, nonetheless, we spoke about that. Allegri's presser coming into this one today, Malmo versus Juventus. So, Szczesny will get the nod. Hot topic. As always. And again, this one's tricky. This one is tricky to me because it's not so cut and dry as showing faith in the project or even showing faith in him to pick himself up, because I believe it's been so long that he's been below his level, because he's shown his level when he had competition a little while ago, even going back to when Perrin first came here and taken over after Buffon. It's been a while since he's been at that level. I think a shakeup needs to happen. I think we potentially missed the opportunity because I might have taken it against Napoli, to be honest. This is a tough one. Going into today, though, you could argue that because it's Malmo, this is the time to show your faith in him because we should get the result. And it could be the turnaround not only him, but the entire team needs. Your thoughts on that portion of this press conference?
Okay, I'll give you I disagree with both of those. Now, I would have started him against Napoli, which they did, but I would have started Perrin today. I know we have a lot of the starters back, but I think if you're gonna get that weird bearded dude in there to get some minutes, Perrin, that is, today would have been the day to start him, because now you run into, let's just say he has another, one mistake that caused the goal today. What do you do on Sunday against Milan? I think today was the day to pull the trigger on Perrin. I agree that, you have to maintain confidence in your starting goalkeeper, and that's another reason why they brought Allegri in. He's not going to bow to the pressure of outside influence. He's going to do what he thinks is right for the team. And if he feels it's right, we'll support him as Juventus fans. You and I can disagree, but I thought it was the right move to start Tech on Saturday. But today I would have went Mateus today.
Yeah, that's an interesting take, man. That's a really, really good call because if Softy does go in today, you got Milan, a pretty high octane
what do you do?
Team.
Well, Ibrahimovic is out. Well, he's not. Ibrahimovic didn't travel to Anfield for today, but who cares?
They're pretty high octane. They were looking really good against Lazio. It's got to be said.
Lazio. Oh yeah, they stink. By the way, I told you that at the beginning of the season. I told you guys to write that down. Lazio stink.
Take it easy. Take it easy. Okay. Szczesny and Ligt, they're going to start. Bernardeschi took a knock to the knee. Not serious. Not going to be risked, though. Chiesa, flexor problem. Preferred leaving him in Turin to play Milan, and he will be available against Milan. The objective for Champions League is quarterfinals, according to Allegri. Kulishevsky could play, but the decision is going to be made today. It still hasn't technically been made. And really just speaking to the performances and having to continue to improve and whatnot. We have a look at the potential lineup coming out. But first, as always, we have to do some trivia. Anthony, I think he's got, well, you nailed that last one, the wins right. That was actually very, very impressive.
I'm gonna need my fellow sweat hogs. Come on, I need you guys to pump me up here. I need a lot of help.
So he's going to be relying heavily on you guys in the chat here to help.
The stomach acid starting already.
This is where we're going to be. We're going to kick it off with first of all, they've only met twice, Malmo and Juve. It was back in 14-15 season. Juventus won both of those group stage matches.
Yes.
Who were the other opponents in that group?
Oh, I didn't go back that far. Okay, that year, 2014, 2015.
It was 2014, 2015.
So there's Malmo. I know Tevez had 3 goals in that tie. I know that one because he scored a brace in the one. See, I know some trivia. Damn. Who else was in the group? So Malmo would have been the Whipping Boys. We would have been coming off. We would have been either first or second pot. So who would be the other team? I'm going to go with some obscure Russian team as the third. Or anybody in the group and nobody in the chat wants to help me out with this?
They might be having fun just watching you struggle through this.
How would I know who's in the group stage, man? Let me see. Who do we always play in the group stage?
We got a call here. Dell's trying to help you out.
It's not no, Olympiacos was in 2017, 2018 was in our group. I'm going to go with Fenerbahce.
Not in our group.
Damn it.
Animesh coming in with Zenit.
Okay, because they can Google. See, I'm not Googling anything. Zenit was not. Zenit was in our group. What year was that?
Let's make a call here. Just throw. You got.
I'm going to go with Fenerbahce and Atletico Madrid.
So you got Atletico Madrid right, and it was Olympiacos, and you owe Dells 09 a little bit of an apology.
I don't know Dells anything because when I'm in there with the Sweat Hogs, nobody apologizes to me. Good job, Dells. Appreciate it.
That was good. Okay. Here we go. How many points did Juve finish with in that group?
So Olympiacos, so Malmo was 2 wins. There's 6. There was probably a draw in there. I would say 6. So they played. I would say 14 points.
So the leaders in that year were Atletico. They finished with 13. Juventus finished with 10.
10. All right.
Tevez scored 3 in the 2 matches against Malmo. Who scored the other goal?
Lorente, man, that guy was a beast.
Nice.
I love that guy. I don't misremember any time that guy scores. That guy, whenever he scored, it was always a pleasure.
That was, of course, a good, solid, hell of a run for Juve that ended, obviously, not the way any of us wanted. That was a goddamn PK, on Pogba. I'll say that right now.
It was. Yeah.
Who were our knockout opponents?
Okay. In which year,
in that season, 14, 15.
Okay, you want to know something? That was the one thing I didn't write down. So I think we beat Real Madrid.
Look at this guy. He's studying for the trivia now.
No, I was studying for the Champions League, but I just so happened to look back at some years. So that year, 2014, 2015, I'm going to say Real Madrid in the semis. Was it Real in the semis? You
got Real Madrid, right? Yeah.
That was Real in the semis. I think it was Monaco in the quarters.
2 for 2.
Monaco in the quarters. And then, so kind of going back the way, Borussia. I think it was, Barcelona. I think it was Borussia in the second round.
Borussia Dortmund
was in the second round. And then the quarter
That's
finals.
them, man.
Is that it? Borussia, Monaco, Real Madrid. Barcelona.
That's them.
I am the
Holy.
greatest of all time.
Very, very nice. Look at that. Dell's had you too, just in case. Just in case, regardless of you leaving them high and dry on the Olympiacos.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
do that.
top goal scorer that season for Juventus. How many in all competitions?
20. The easy answer would be the Apache.
Oh
I'll go
yeah.
with Tevez. I'll
Oh
go
yeah.
Tevez.
How many in all comps?
See, he wasn't bagging like 30 goals. All competitions, I'd say 24.
29 all
Did he really
comps.
have that many? That's a
Oh
lot,
yeah.
man.
He
Yeah,
was
he
an
was unstoppable
absolute
that year.
beast.
Yeah.
Man, you did solid,
Yeah, I'm
solid,
very proud of
man.
myself. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. I'm very, very proud of
Wow.
myself.
So Lucci throwing out the bombs on your hair is going to be in for it the next time he's on trivia. We're going to put him through the ringer.
You wait till next time I'm with the Sweat Hogs and he's doing trivia. I'm gonna be sending pee bags down from the bleachers.
I love it. I love it. All right. So projected lineup. This is potentially what we could see
Mm-hmm.
versus.
Are you gonna bring it up? Okay.
Okay. So Chesney in goal, Danilo, Bonucci, Ligt, Sandro across the back, Quadrado, Rabiot outsides, Bentancur, Locatelli in the middles with Dybala, Morata up top. Anthony, your thoughts on this, and of course, everybody live, drop your thoughts on this potential lineup. Go ahead, Ant.
The 4-4-2. Now, the great thing about being part of this team here, there's a lot of guys smarter than me when it comes to analytics. I make fun of Dan and Luke all the time, and Eric, but some smart individuals that go that have really, and yourself out, and that have gone into and looked at lineups and formations and. For me, I'm not sure if we're gonna. We always get these predictions of 4-4-2, and I'm not smart enough to say if that's how they're eventually going to line up. The thing that I would be most concerned about is the experience. Now, this is a good experienced lineup minus Locatelli, right? In terms of Champions League, um, I wouldn't change any of the players. I know some people will say Rabiot's a little bit out of position out there. Hopefully, he doesn't let us down if they do line up in a 4-4-2. I know everybody bags on Alexandro at left back, but he has Champions League experience. You want to get off to a good start. Something that has to be noted is that Malmo, even though they stink, like pound for pound, they're not as good a team as we are. We have all international players. They are halfway through their season, right? So their season April to December. Another thing that you should note with Malmo is that they have 13 players that have played in double-digit games. So they seem to stick to the same 11. So we have a team here of, we haven't seen this formation yet. We haven't seen all these together yet. And you're going up against a team that pound for pound isn't as good, but they have players that have played together already for about 17 games. I agree with the players on the field. I'll leave it to you if you think they're in the right positions.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard the shouts that a 4-3-1-2 could potentially work, dropping the Bala back and having Quad up a little bit higher to work with Morata up there. The only problem is I don't see that actually going to be a way Allegri will work because he'll always demand the defensive work rate. If you go a 4-3-3, that ends up putting Dybala on one of the wings, which could potentially happen. However, I also don't see that happening because Quadrado on the left side is not as effective as a player for whatever reason. And if we put Dybala on that side, that shouldn't be the side we're going to press up the field with because it's Sandro over on that side. I see Danilo and Quadrado being a lock on the right wing. It's actually a very effective right wing and flank when you have those two there. So I think it is going to play more as a 4-5-1 with Dybala being able to roam between flanks.
Okay.
Rabiot on the outside is always awkward. Always awkward if he's the outside mid because He really isn't one. If it was a 4-3-3 base and your flank pushed up through it, it works. But it's in this setup, as him being one of those outside guys, it's a little off. And we saw that last season when Pirlo was doing the same thing in a 4-4-2. Because Rabiot is essentially another one of these guys. If you're playing a 4-4-2, your outsides should be the versatile ones, like Quadrado is going to be on the right. So if we're doing that this way now, that's a bit strange. So right off the hop, if it was 4-4-2, I wouldn't like this Rabiot Sandro thing on the left.
The only thing I can see with putting Rabiot out there is that, and you and I, the one thing we're not smart enough to know is who Malmo is. So one of the potential reasons that he's putting Rabiot out there as some sort of stopgap or some sort of positional player for their right flank. That would make sense. I agree that Rabiot being out there, I don't think we've ever seen him out so far left or right. I can't really recall, but that has to be some sort of play against what Malmo might come out with. They typically run, from what I've researched on them, is a 4-2-3-1. So that's I'm not sure why he'd be out there if this is even the starting lineup, because as we've seen, he's typically that one position out there on the left that whoever he lists, typically Bernardeschi would come in there, but as we know, as you already mentioned, he didn't travel with the team.
Yeah. The other, of course, and Surhat coming in right on cue, it could be 3-5-2 when we have the ball, as Sandro could be getting forward next to Rabiot, and obviously Danilo, Bonucci, and De Ligt make up the center backs. But again, I don't know. I feel like Sandro would be the one we set back, right?
Right.
Tough one. Dell's coming in. Should we be setting up to nullify a team like Malmo, or should we not be going for the jugular? And
you should be if you're informed. But what we learned from, I think I'm not sure if Allegri was a coach. Remember, we went in and played Young Boys and we lost 2-1. I believe that was the first group stage game that year in Champions League. So we're not in any position to be going in and going for the jugular. We're not playing that way right now, and we haven't played that way in a while. I hope Max isn't. Well, he's a defensive-minded coach, so I can see he's gonna want the clean sheet first if this is the lineup. And in Champions League away, a point is good. A lot of people want to go for 3 points based on the current form, but this is a different competition. This is completely separate from the Serie A. A point away from home in the group stage is all you need. So for us, it'd be great. Please, Max, go out there, get the boys to bang 7 goals. It's not happening today.
Yeah, I also think, our lineup setting them up to go for the jugular. Again,
it's not it.
Well, tying to what you're saying and piggybacking off that, we're just not playing in a manner that if we go for the jugular and something happens and it goes sideways,
completely derail it.
The team turns it around and overcomes it and gets it done. We're kind of in this mental state right now where I see what Allegri's trying to do in building that stability, starting being sound and accountable and responsible defensively and whatnot, and then trying to go. I don't think, and I've said this from the get-go, it isn't sustainable and it isn't a way we should be looking for throughout. But I think to kick things off in certain scenarios, and definitely a tricky comeback from the international break, being Napoli, your first Champions League match, and then Milan, very, very tricky. He's also got to keep something in the holster, so to speak, right? And something in the chamber for this match in the second half with Kulusevski and Keane. So I think it's not the end of the world, and I don't think that this particular lineup couldn't necessarily go for the jugular, but we're still yet to see how it sets up, right?
Mhm.
If there's some fluidity up at the top, again, I think if Dybala is left to roam from flank to flank and play in behind Morata, Cuadrado can push up, we could potentially see some pretty solid attack out of this side. Danilo has the capability of pushing forward.
Mhm.
Bentancur will have some freedom because of Locatelli. And
Yeah.
Bentancur will be able to attack the area and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily think this isn't something that could unleash, especially on an opponent like Malmo. No disrespect to them, but this
It's
could,
okay. Do it. None of their fans are listening.
yeah. So I mean, it's not the be all end all. And again, we could see some changes. Max even said you could see Kulishevsky. And to be honest, my personal preference, even though may not be the natural way for him, I would put Kulishevsky in there probably in place of Arabio,
Rabio. Yeah. And that
just
may
to have
happen.
someone more versatile on that outside. And he's a left-footed player. It would make sense to me.
Mhm.
That's it. That's it. Del Juve Pier, I live 5 minutes away from the hotel Juve are sleeping at. Just fighting
Sweet.
away the Malmo fans to stop interrupting their sleep or whatnot.
Go be a team player. Get out there. Start beating
So,
them away with sticks.
so kind of analyzing things a bit, somewhat of a projection, which I think the majority are what we are going to see in that
Mhm.
lineup. We come to everybody's favorite time of the match day lives, especially Anthony's prediction time. Okay.
Oh, I'm heating up, baby. I am heating up.
So everybody get your predictions ready. Of course, we have the post-match podcast that we're going to do tomorrow morning, same time live, in which you guys can keep track of your own, okay? Keep track of your own predictions. Come back, call us out if you dominate us, okay? And
Not this guy. You're not dominating this guy.
Ant's gonna have he's gonna write things down. I'm gonna ask Ant to write my own down as well for me, please.
All right.
Hold us all accountable, boys. But yeah, it's prediction time. Luca predicting that Anthony will be wrong with his prediction. Oh man,
Kids, see what happens. See what happens when kids
I
aren't
think
hugged enough. That's what happens with Luca. Luca wasn't hugged enough as a child. And that's what you
might
get.
have to kick him out of the chat
It's
pretty soon.
you
I
kicked
mean
me out
that
of the
that
chat for no
happened to
damn reason.
Anthony accidentally. So for those of you that didn't catch the joke earlier on, there was a CR fanboy in our chat doing nothing but talking absolute nonsense and
So
insulting
was I
Juventus.
though.
So I went to click on this gentleman's profile, and then I went below under it to hit block user. And right at that moment, as I hit block user, you would think that StreamYard would keep it with that user. So StreamYard, yeah, I'm throwing you under the bus here. No. So the next message that comes in is Anthony's right away. I hit block user and then notice that CR fanboy is still going. And I'm like, where's Anth? What? And yeah, Anthony, it took me a while to figure out how to get him
And
back.
I had some beauties coming out too, but no.
I think it
Thanks,
still
Al.
allowed
Appreciate
you
it,
to
bud.
type and put your messages in, but it wasn't coming over on our side. Because were you still able to type everything?
Oh yeah,
That was fun.
beauties.
Oh
All
man,
right, let's get this going. What
good
do we
time,
got?
good time. Final score line. We are going to start right out of the bat with the final score. Look at this. Everybody rolling right now. Animesh 2-1 Juve. Big Bandizi with the 5-0
I thought that was
Juve.
Big Ben. I thought that guy's person's name was Big Banana.
Siraj
I was like,
loving that none of their fans are listening. Love that call.
it's
As
true.
a Juve fan and Malmo fan. Wow. Hoping
Who's
for
that
1-1.
person? Stole my prediction right there. I was going 1-1 today.
Wow. Siraj 2-0. Alex P 3-1 Juve. Tech can't keep a clean sheet to save
He
his life.
can't. He can't. Alex is right.
So you're going 1-1.
I'm going 1-1. Yeah.
What's the matter with you? That guy's a Malmo fan as well. I understand it. 1-1.
1-1, Al. That's what's going to happen.
Crazy.
1-1.
Crazy. 1-1. Okay. I'm going with. Looking at the lineup. Yeah. It's going to be 2-1.
You
Juventus.
stink. You stink.
We haven't kept a clean sheet since sometime in March. So I'm
Something like
not
that.
expecting a clean sheet away
Yep.
in the first match of I would love to be wrong on this. I'll give them a goal.
You are. It's okay.
I'm going to go 2-1. Don't get smart. Don't get smart. Goal scorers. Who are you throwing out for your goal scorers?
Well, there's only one.
Just for Juve. Yeah.
I'll put Dybala down for my goal scorer.
Dybala.
If that's your pick, I have another guy.
I'm going quad. Quad get
Okay.
one, and Morata get the other. Those are.
I'll put as a potential. This isn't my pick, but I think Bentancur smacks one today. But I'll stick with Dybala as my official pick.
Yeah, and let's go with the minute of the first offside. Which team?
Okay, Malmo stinks, so they won't cross half until about the 40th.
Yeah. Right.
So I'll go. Well, we're both going to pick Morata, I think.
Well, when he's on the pitch, you got to call him for the first offside. But
So
I'm
let's
going to
just
say
take
it's somewhere around 19 minutes.
I'll say 20th minute.
Okay.
You said what? 19th?
19th.
19th minute?
19th minute, yeah.
What is some of the sweat hogs saying here? Did we lose them?
I think they're
And the
maybe
mesh.
just
I really hope we
thinking
don't
about
concede
theirs
first.
right
We
now.
will.
We're
going down 1-0. That's another prediction, man. We're going down 1-0.
What? No, we'll be up
Yep.
1. They'll draw 1-1, and then we'll score 2-1 is my prediction.
That prediction stinks.
So he's throwing out, watch out for Birmankovic and Kolak. These are two top players in Malmo. Right now, Juve's got to watch out for everybody being fair, to be fair.
It's true.
It is true. It's true. Right now, we have to watch out for absolutely everybody.
We can't say nothing about these guys because, one, you and I, we don't know.
Yeah.
But
and you're right. I'm going to throw out the invite here for this Juve Malmo fan, and I've seen you in our live chat. Come join us and talk a little bit of Malmo, next pre-match day live. And we can
for the return leg.
Get the insight there and the scoop there. Let's go with yellow card. First yellow card, first team, minute.
I think it's gonna be Malmo. It's gonna be. I'll ask our friend here to throw out some names, but I'll go Malmo in the first yellow card will be in the 54th minute.
54th for the first yellow.
Yeah, it's gonna be cagey. I think it's gonna be cagey first half. Malmo's gonna sit back.
This is going to be a physical. I think it's going to be quite a bit more physical. I'm expecting a yellow somewhere in the mid-20s, to be honest. Maybe 27th for the first yellow.
27th, all right.
And I will put it on Malmo because Rolf, that's a hell of a handle, let me tell you right now. This guy's probably going to know better, but I think they're going to come out and play very, very physical and make things very, very difficult for us. They're supposed to be a pretty physical team from what I've read, which is all I can go on. So I think they're going to try to shut us down and make life miserable for all the guys. And I see them potentially taking that first yellow, maybe late 20s, 27, 28, somewhere in there.
And remember, they have a pretty set 11 that they play with, and they're halfway through their year. Yeah. So they've played with each other quite a bit. We're slamming out a lineup that, we would send on like the USA tour. Like we haven't seen these guys yet.
There's
look at the big banana.
With, Big Bandeezy there, Big Mac doing a big bicycle kick. Take it easy.
I'm not writing that down. You guys take a screenshot.
Bentancur doesn't know how to hit it between the three woods. What?
I like that, the three woods. I've never heard someone call that. Paulo. Okay, Lucas stinks. Lucas got to go back to work.
A Rabiot goal. That's a show. That's a show.
Lou's not going to like that.
Rabiot's good for a few out of nowhere, and they're usually bombers. So we'll see what ends up happening. So
anybody who wants to congratulate me for my predictions afterwards, if you want to bring up the handle here, Al, you can bring. Do you have a chance to bring up the handles? At the knee guy right here, you bring it up. You can thank me. You can send me a DM. There you go. You can find me on Twitter right here. Boom. And
Okay.
I expect
So
a
what do
lot
we
of
got?
thank
We
yous.
got yellows. We've got our final scores. We've got our gore scores. What else? We got
Offsides.
offside. Last, certainly not least, the amount of shot attempts Juventus will have and how many they'll have on target.
Pretty sure I won that one on the Napoli game because I went 10-4 and it ended up being 9-4.
I was pretty close. I was 12 and 4.
Yeah. Pretty close doesn't pay out, by the way.
Well, you
That's
were
Vegas
wrong
then.
as well because it wasn't. You didn't say 10. You said 8.
Yeah. So in the Price is Right, if you're over, you lose.
Hey, easy, Bobby. Easy, Bobby Barker. Okay, this isn't the Price is Right. This is
with
all
the big
you cast.
microphone, with the weird microphone.
So
Okay.
So shot attempts and how many on target? This is gonna wrap us up.
I would say 16. I'll go 16 and 7.
16 and 7. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go with 19 attempts for Juve, and I'm gonna say that 10 are on target.
10 on target. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is
10,
a lot.
10. Well, look at Animesh here. 23 shots. Jesus. This isn't a hockey game.
23 attempts, 9 on target. Nah, we'll see what ends up happening here. And you know what, Animesh? You come right back here tomorrow for that post-match pod and you call this guy out, okay? If you end up taking
Right
I hope you guys
there you
all
go.
recorded yours, okay?
Right there.
And we are expecting you guys to come and call us out on all of them tomorrow. But
Bring it.
last messages before we sign off and we get ready for the first Champions League group stage match, Anthony. I just want to let everybody know, first off, enjoy the match. Just
Please
take it in,
enjoy it.
try to enjoy it, and it's always hard. And again, going back to all the messages I'm getting from Juventini and DMs and stuff, it's very, very difficult when we literally dominate for a decade and then see such a setback and such a drastic turn. Patience is all we can have. Just try to go back to when it was, I can't help but going back to the memories of the 2011-12 season when the expectations, weren't there. And you just enjoyed all the matches and wow, this team was growing and this team was doing well. And we were finishing 7th, like we were going through a banter era and I still watched every game. And you just took the positives out of it and you just keep waiting year after year and see what the team does and whatnot. And now after this decade of dominance, it makes things so difficult to go back to a standard, but we are still so much better and have so many better players in that banter era. Just give it some time. Enjoy the matches though. And I know it's hard sometimes with what you're seeing in the play and we're focusing on other teams and what they're doing, but look no further than what's in front of you. Have faith in Allegri. Trust that the guys will get it right. And again, all 3 lineups we've seen so far and potentially even today are not our best 11. So just give it some time. My message is just be patient, try to enjoy everything and try to take the positives out of it. Anthony, your closing message for the Juve team.
I would just like to, first of all, thank everybody taking the time joining us today. We love doing this for you. So be a friend, tell a friend, retweet the show, join us back here. Hopefully either tonight, I think we're going to do it tomorrow. I'll try and be back here. If not, it'll be Al, another one of the All Juve cast crew. We do this for you. Check out Striped Hearts Apparel. They do great work. I wear their stuff all the time. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. The whole All Juve cast appreciates it. So keep coming back. Be a friend. Tell a friend.
There you go. Fantastic message. And Alex P coming in loud and clear with this one. Forza Juve fino alla fine. Until the end. No matter what, there is no wavering. It's all about the club. Okay. Forza Juve fino alla fine. Hopefully we can celebrate a victory tomorrow morning on the post-match podcast live. I want to see all of you back in there tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to celebrating. Okay. Let's get this win. Let's start turning things around. Okay. And let's have faith in the boys. And also last, certainly not least, I am starting a Champions League fantasy league. Okay. And that's going to be dropping on Twitter shortly here. So again, the handle's right across the bottom. Follow at AllJuveCast on Twitter. Make sure you join Champions League, and there will be prizes available for the winner at the end of the Champions League tournament from Striped Hearts Apparel. Okay, everybody, we're signing off. Ciao tutti. Enjoy the match. Forza Juve. Fino alla fine.